Hello everyone. I'm just admitting few people. So, welcome everyone, and welcome to the AMA session by Pragmatic Leaders. We are so glad to see you all here. Before we start today's session, I'd like to give you all a brief about Pragmatic Leaders. We built Pragmatic Leaders as a bridge for mid-career technology professionals who can confidently change roles and careers. At Pragmatic Leaders, you're a part of a global family of aspirational professionals who proactively help each other and are invested in each other's career growth. We offer the pay after placement program in product management, which is completely online and case study based for working professionals who are looking to transition into product roles and for professionals who are looking to upskill in product management. With a 79% placement rate, our students are placed as product managers at brands like Walmart, PayPal, Paytm, Amazon, LimeRoad, and other brands within a 50% average salary hike. For more details, you can visit our website, that is pragmaticleaders.io, or you can reach out to me afterwards. For today's session, we have with us our mentor for cohort 22 of PG Diploma Program in Product Management, Keerthana AK, Senior Product Manager at Zynga. With that note, we can begin the session. And I request Keerthana to introduce herself and share her journey so far in gaming industry and product management with the audience. So over to you.
Thanks, Priyanka. Hi, everyone. I just have like a quick 3 slides to just talk you through what is my introduction. So yeah, like Priyanka said, my name is Keerthana. I currently work as senior PM at Zynga. I have about 11 plus years of experience. I have spent a majority of that time working at early stage startups, even though I started my career with Accenture. Within a couple of years, I realized that it's really difficult to make a mark in such a huge company. And I wanted to join a much smaller place. And at that point in time in India, startups were coming up and I chose to join a company called as Flutura. Right, Flutura is India's highest funded industrial IoT startup. I joined there as the 10th employee. I performed a variety of roles in that company. It kind of enabled me to explore what I want to do. I will talk about it in the next slide. Um, Post that, I joined a company called Hyphen. This is a Silicon Valley based HR tech startup. And there I was the third employee. So there were two founders, a salesperson, marketing, and I was the customer success and PM in that company. This was one of the best experiences of my life. It played like a pivotal role in like coming from that exploration journey in Flutura to kind of understanding where I want to do, where I want to go, what I want to do in life. Um, and post that, I joined Zynga as a PM. There is a reason why I joined Zynga. I wanted to move from B2B to B2C, primarily for two reasons. The first reason being, in B2B companies, generally what happens is most of the requirements or features are driven by either sales or customer success, right? Because usually the customers are big ticket, like they each customer gives you a high amount of revenue, so it's generally like driven by what their requirements are. So I didn't want to do that. I wanted to see if I could come up with my own solutions through my hypothesis, and that is really possible only in B2C. And the second reason why I wanted to get into B2C is because whatever solutions you create or you release, it is really easy to see their impact, see the impact in B2C. Whereas in B2B, it is not so. Two reasons. Actually, one reason is because of the amount of volume of users that you will have. Um, in B2B versus B2C, there is absolutely no relation. In B2B, there'll be very few users, whereas in B2C, it will be like a notion of users, right? So those are the reasons why I kind of chose to join Zynga. Currently, I own a portfolio of casual games at Zynga. I'm in charge of coming up with new games, new hyper casual and casual games, and releasing it in the market. Right? So that is my current role. I want to also tackle one more question here, because the topic of this session is how to get into PM without doing an MBA, right? So I am not an MBA. There is a reason why I didn't choose to be an MBA. And the reason is because of my background with startups, right? Like I told you about Futura, I spent a lot of time exploring what I want to do, and I had the room to do that. I started as a data analyst. Soon, I was seen as a person who can pitch things to customers and manage customers and things like that. So I moved, and I was also seen as a person who has a greater business understanding even at a lower experience age. And I was pushed into doing pre-sales and project management early on. I handled multiple customers, big customers, small customers, in the US, in the Europe, even in India. Over here, with this pre-sales and project management kind of background, I spent a lot of time analyzing business problems of different industries, coming up with use cases, pitching it to customers, doing it in a way where it is attractive to them, and things like that, right? So I was more and more leaning towards the business side rather than the technical side. I always, even from like a 3 or 4 years experience, I always thought that technology is just an enabler, right? If it does not serve the business, it doesn't serve the purpose, right? So that kind of automatically propelled me to doing a more business focused role. To be honest, when I joined Flutura, I mean, when I left Flutura, I still was not an actual product manager, right? So a lot of custom projects we were building at that point in time. So I was not uh, really the ideal product manager, right? So what happened next in Hyphen was that this was a company where we never, even though we were so small, we never used to customize even for the biggest customer that we have, right? And this led to a very scalable, highly configurable, and complex product. When I started with Hyphen, the product was just a platform where employees could give anonymous feedback to employers. And in the 2 years spent there, it became this real-time HR analytics platform with engagement surveys, pulse polls, and employee feedback. Right. So it was a short period of time where we did a lot of work. We had a lot of customers: Hero Motors, Ola, Titan, all big customers in India and in the US, right? And I did a dual role over there of customer success and product management, and gave me a very unique perspective of I was so close to customers. I really understood their pain and translated that into like effective features for the business. And this company is also very special to me because in 2020 it had a successful exit, right? And it was a multi-million-dollar exit. And we all know like how difficult it is, and how few startups even have that kind of success, right? So that's why like it is a very important thing for me. But anyway, coming to the point, because I had this much breadth of experience across all of these roles, I really never felt the need for an MBA, right? It was always on the job kind of a learning that I've had. Is it advantageous to have an MBA? Sure, it is. It opens gates to you that will probably not be opened if you do not have one. But is it really required? Definitely not. There are a lot of it. It feels like it is the easiest path to take, but it's not really the only path to take. And I'm kind of glad I did not take that path, because because I've had experiences so close and hands-on that I can probably envision problems that I have seen in my experience that not a lot of uh, MBA grads can do that who have not had the hands-on experience, right? So this is why I did not choose to do an MBA. And in a nutshell, this is my experience. This has been my experience in the industry, right? So yeah. Priyanka, do you want to take shall we take the questions?
Yeah, we can actually, guys. The question which you have, you can turn your cameras and mics on, and you can ask the question directly. But for time being, there are a few questions which people asked in the registration form. We can take them.
Sure.
Yeah. So let me just read out to you, and I'm also putting those
I
questions
think
in the.
we have a question. So can we take the live audience questions first and then?
Yeah, yeah, sure, we can.
Yeah. So I think there is a question from Ashwin, right? Ashwin is asking, what is your thought process in creating things which is yet to be born? So I think he's asking a question where there is not a product really, and it is a typical 0 to 1 kind of a scenario where there is nothing, and how do you come up with something, right? That's a great question, Ashwin. So what generally happens is PMs are of different types, right? There is a 0 to 1 PM, 1 to 10 PM, 10 to 100 PM. So when you are a 0 to 1 PM, the biggest thing that you have to do is uh, think about whatever problem that you are solving for is really a problem. That is very, very important. So what happens generally is people just go build a lot of solutions, right? So if you do that, you will not really it's just a luck, right? Like if you it may work, it may not work. So you have to spend a lot of time analyzing if the problem that you're solving is really a problem. There are multiple ways to do that. Market research is one thing, right? So it is very important to understand like what kind of issues are there in the market. Are there competitors in the market? It is also very important to do some qualitative analysis. A simple thing like asking your friends, another simple thing like sending out surveys. Those are the kind of things that you would need to do. And once you do that, you need to break down your problem, whether this is you may have X as a problem, but by the time you finish this entire journey of user research, market research, and things like that, you may come up with Y as a problem. So again, you would have to kind of do an iteration of the same thing, because it is very, very important to validate whether that problem actually exists. And then going and building a solution, that is easy, right? That is simple. That is how you build a solution for anything really. Once you have the problem crystallized, once you have the user needs crystallized, going and doing it, that is normal. So yeah.
Okay, thank you, Keerthana. So there are a few questions were in the registration form.
Mm-hmm.
I'm asking the first one. So Adarsh is asking, is every day of a product manager is just about strategy as they talk in LinkedIn webinars?
Okay. uh, that's a great question, I would say. Not really. Also depends on the level of PM you are at. There are different levels of being a PM. A lot of PMs, even not just APMs, even PMs do not really do product strategy much, right? um, a lot of time goes in analyzing, if you're a B2C, analyzing users, analyzing metrics, seeing if there is any problem with any of those metrics, coming up with opportunities, coming up with solutions, uh, building specs to make sure that whatever solution you're proposing is in the right way, presenting it to your team, getting sign-offs from everyone, handing it over to the stakeholders. These are the things that happen in a day-to-day of a PM. Product strategy happens, but it only happens when you're making the roadmap, isn't it? It doesn't happen throughout the year. So that is what I would say is my thought behind it.
Okay. Thank you, Krishna. Guys, please open your mics and you can ask the questions and maybe open your cameras also. It will be two-way, more interactive. For
Yeah.
second question, I'm reading out. Uh, so Sankalp is asking, what are some of the hard skills preferred in gaming product roles?
Sure. One of the things that if you want to get into gaming is the most um, gaming is an industry that uses data analytics the most, like highly used. Every feature is driven by a complete analytics, like what do you say, wash or whatever, right? Like before you develop a feature, there needs to be, every hypothesis of yours needs to be backed by data. Not all industries are like that. Gaming is number one industry which is very, very, very much into this. So if you really want to be get into gaming, I would suggest you to build the data analytics skill. When I say data analytics, some people misunderstand as data science or machine learning. It's not really that. You need to be able to crunch numbers. It can be as basic as Excel analysis, but you need to be able to crunch numbers. You need to be able to take a problem statement and translate it into numbers. So let's say, for example, okay, my users are not playing this game as much this week as much as they did last week, right? How do you translate this sentence into numbers? So you need to see what was the weekly activity last week, what is the weekly activity this week, what is the engagement, is there a drop in retention? So you need to be able to translate every sentence or hypothesis into numbers, and you need to be able to deep dive into those and come up with a hypothesis, right? So that is very important. The second skill I would say to get into a gaming industry is, I really want people to play games, and it can be any type of games, like and when you're playing those games, you need to understand why each of the features in those games are really there. What is that feature making me do? Why did they put it? Because every feature in every game has a need, and otherwise they'll never put it. So these are the two top skills I would say, if you want to be a PM in a gaming industry, I would ask you to build.
Okay. Thank you, Keerthana. We can take a question by Subra Jyoti. So
Sure.
he's asking, how important is domain knowledge of a product manager? How do you switch domains and how do you tackle developers being a non-techie?
Hi Subrato, I see that you're on the call. Do you want to ask the question yourself? It would be nice to talk to you.
Hey, Keerthana. Good evening.
Yes, go ahead.
Hi. Good evening. Yeah. So basically, yeah, that is the question, right? How important is domain knowledge? Um, why I'm asking is, I see a lot of the times people switching domains, such as yourself, right? You switched a domain, and some people, I hear it from PMs day in and day out. It's almost impossible. Nobody even would listen to them, right? So how did you do it, A? And is it possible? I mean, obviously it's possible. I can see you as an example, but yeah, how?
Okay, sure.
And what is the hindrance when employers, right, keep asking for that?
Sure. Nothing really is impossible. What I would say is have a reason to do it. You know, if your reason is strong enough, then definitely yes. In terms of whether they'll take you seriously or not, it totally depends. Obviously, there will be a learning curve in every industry that you get into. There is no easy way, but I feel that the learning curve is there. Even let's say today I'm in this game, but I go to a game B, there will always be a learning curve. It'll be a smaller one, but it will still be there. But I would say it is not impossible, but have a reason to do, because I had a reason. I wanted to get into B2C. I was not really looking at gaming, I wanted to get into B2C, like for the reasons that I explained to you before. So yes, it was tough. It Is it an ideal decision if you want to grow fast? No. If you want to grow fast, definitely stick to your domain. That is good. But if I'm a person who enjoys making and breaking and learning new things, and for me it was fine. So I'm currently the SME of hyper casual games within my company within a span of 2 years, right? So I have built up that skill. So definitely not impossible, but definitely have a reason to do it.
No, I mean, once you get into that kind of a role, obviously, in 1 year, 2 years, 3 years, whatever, you will, gain that knowledge. But the question is how to,
Sure,
make that first break.
sure. Uh, how to get into something like again? So are you a PM right now and trying to get into a PM into another domain, or are you another? You
Yes,
have some
yes,
other
yes.
experience. Okay, and are you trying to switch from B2B to B2C, or what is it?
I actually, no, I am into B2C. However, it is more in the food tech, food tech e-commerce.
Okay.
I have managed for a very small period of time. I have managed a big bank digitalization project. So the main idea is to switch to switch to the finance industry.
Okay,
And
since you're already a PM, it shouldn't be much of a problem. So I don't know what exactly is the problem. There are things to do. Build up your resume. Make sure your resume has the most impactful kind of metrics that you have driven within this current role. Build up your LinkedIn profile. LinkedIn profile is very, very, very important, right? So you should have the right kind of keywords within your LinkedIn profile so that recruiters who are looking for such people can reach out to you. If you do these two things, a lot of your problem is solved. Like people can discover you, and beyond that, it's your aptitude that's going to get you to the next. So build up your resume. Definitely spend a lot of time, and definitely spend a lot of time on your LinkedIn profile.
and my third question was, a lot of the PMs are from a non-tech background. I myself am from a sales and marketing background, right? Uh, I mean, on a operational basis on day to day, right? There's a lot of pushback that people like me get from the dev team. So whenever you are a non-techie, what do you know, right? I mean, they don't say it on your face, but sometimes that is the attitude,
Sure.
right?
Hey, so
How do you tackle that?
Subrajyoti, can we take other questions and then
Sure, yeah, sure,
because,
yeah.
or you can PM me directly. We can discuss it on LinkedIn. But definitely, I'll come back to your question. I understand your question. So, how do you, without coming from a non-tech background, how do you convince engineers? Right? That's an important question. We'll come back to it. Anybody else wants to ask a question? Thanks, Subrajyoti.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Chetan has raised his hand. So Chetan, you want to go ahead?
Thank you, Priyanka, for this opportunity. Keerthana, I think I was having a discussion with one of my colleague, and then of course, whatever that you told, when we are identifying the company to work, it's really important for us to look for whether it's a startup or MNC or whether it is B2C or B2B. That's really important. But what is more important is what kind of problem that we will going to get as an opportunity when we work with an organization. So how can we categorize the problems when we are choosing the companies? So if you could help me with that. So
Chetan, it's a very I think your thought process is really good, but is it practical is something that I would ask myself, because when you get into, let's say, a big company, right? Let's say you even like Google or Netflix or whatever, right? How do you know which team you're going to be in, and how do you know what kind of problem are they solving? Isn't it? It's very difficult to get to know this upfront, like during the recruitment process or things like that, about this problem that you're talking to me about. So but is there a company, like a smaller company, is there a startup who is solving a problem which interests you? Is it a company which has less than 50 people? Is it a company having less than 100 people? Are they just starting their product management org? So maybe are they just starting their PM org? That may be not upfront information, but is there a company that is small, that is solving a problem that you like and you what do you say, identify with? I would say, if you are going through the thought that you have currently, you should definitely try out smaller companies, because bigger companies, you can never say what you will get into.
Maybe I think I'll help you with you on this regard. I was also working on this. Maybe of course as an aspiring manager PM, I was working on this. Like if I have an opportunity with gaming organization and if I have an opportunity with edtech organization, then always I would go with edtech over gaming. So that's
Sure,
I know edtech will going to solve the real problem, not the gaming. That's the one way.
sure,
And
sure.
second one would be maybe like if I wanted to go with edtech, then maybe I have two organization. Let's say one, maybe that I identified a lead, that's an organization where their mission statement is they wanted to provide an excellent learning or excellent education for every child across India. But currently that I'm working with an edtech organization called Cambridge is like 450 years old organization where their mission statement is they want to provide the best and research organization research solutions for the educators. So when I have these two organizations mission no, so then always go with lead, because that's the bigger problem that they wanted to solve than the Cambridge. So in that way I was doing that. Maybe like if you could help me with a proper framework.
Okay, I'll tell you
uh,
what. I mean, the question that you are asking, like even the solution that you are giving, okay, their vision is that, right? But on your day to day, will you be doing that? Will you be doing that? So to me, if you need to understand like what is important to you, day to day problem solving is important. Vision and mission of the company is important, right? Like you can join, let's say, Cambridge because you align with their vision, but you are doing product support role. Would you like that? So I would say you need to decide, because the first question you asked was about like what kind of problem will I be solving. The second question is more about vision and mission.
no, sorry. Maybe if I'm not able to communicate well. So what I said is, the first question is what kind of how I can able to categorize the problem and I can choose accordingly. The second that I said is an example. Maybe I was working
Yeah,
on
but
that,
what I'm saying is
and
these two are two different things,
no,
right?
no, 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 no. I didn't say in that context. I said when I'm identifying the problem, I choose mission as one what to say, one reference to
Sure.
identify the problem that they are solving. And similarly, if you could help me with identifying what kind of problem that organization is solving, that one I identified is mission or vision statement, or maybe is any other way that we can able to identify what problem that they're going to solve, or maybe as you rightly said, whether day to day or maybe on a long run, on that, like just help me with the
Oh,
framework to identify what kind of problem that we can.
cool. Okay, I'll tell you what I do. For me, obviously, like the vision and mission is important, but not so much. I also want to know the culture of the company. How do they take decisions? What is the amount of freedom that you get as a person? What does a product manager role in that company entail? Because we all know that PM roles in different companies mean different things. So I would definitely want to know that. Once I get all of these, and also vision and mission is public. I would also talk to some of the employees within that company to understand like what really is happening. Obviously, you have Glassdoor, but if you can have a personal chat, especially with smaller companies, Glassdoor may not be reliable. So having a personal chat always helps. When you collect all of these data points, put it down in a paper and see if it aligns with yourself. And then only like take a decision to move forward. Sometimes the vision becomes important, sometimes your day to day becomes important, right? You need to do a pros and cons, you need to weigh in those risks, and you can take a call.
Thank you.
Thanks, Chetan.
Thank you, Chetan and Keerthana. So, Nikhil, please go ahead.
Yeah. Yeah. Hi, Keerthana, and hi, Priyanka. So yeah, my question is about that I am currently working in analytics, and last year I completed my MBA, and before that I had worked in electricity distribution sector for around 4 years. And right now I am working in analytics with a retailer basically. So I want to shift to product management. So how should I chart out a plan to shift it? Because I earlier had a work ex in operations, then it's MBA, and then now since last 1 year I am working in analytics. So since till now I'm not expert in analytics, but yeah, I had started learning about the analytics also. So how should I try to switch to the PM role? What should I do?
Okay.
Any piece of advice from
One question is there a way within your company to move internally?
Yeah, there is.
But
I might have to. Yeah, please continue.
Yeah, is there a path for that movement that is defined, or is it something you need to ask?
So there's no path as such, but someone from my team has recently switched to the PM role. So I had
Oh,
interacted with them, so I got to know them. So they that person has talked with the manager that that person is interested in the PM role. So since the last 5-6 months, the manager started sending him some documents, and recently someone switched, some PM switched to a different company. So there was the opportunity. So they asked her that whether she's interested. So then there was an interview process like that, and then yeah, she
sure.
moved.
This is a great input for you, right? You have somebody within your team who has already moved, right? And I see that your managers are good in the sense that they are internally transitioning people without hiring someone else, right? Seems like a good culture that you guys have. It also seems another good point that you mentioned is the manager himself is sending documents for her to prepare, right? So the first thing I would do in your place is talk to the manager and tell him about your intent. Also talk to that girl. It seems like she was asked and she didn't.
Yeah,
Say.
yeah.
So talk to her and understand like what are the skills that she has developed. Also observe her. Like not just ask, observe like what kind of points she makes in meetings. If you worked with her till now, note down all the things that probably she does differently than
Okay.
other analysts. Also, when you are doing data analytics, a lot of time in with analysts goes in like trying to understand root cause of the problem, right? Like, or something like that, and trying to do exploratory analysis and things like that.
Okay.
I would go one step further and coming up with proposals to solve the identified issues. Writing very good reads about what is happening within your product, what could be potential solutions, and adding it in all of your reads. And that will kind of give a sense to your leadership that this is a person who has an acumen to become a PM. So you have a good path because you're already an analyst. So I don't see a challenge in movement. Definitely it will happen. You don't need to worry about that. Just do these kind of things to make sure that you go wherever you want much faster.
Okay, sure. That helps. Just a follow-up question, Keerthana. So as I'm working analytics, so I was reading an article medium that there is a role called data product manager. So I just wanted to ask, is a data product manager different from someone, say, product manager, who is not working maybe in terms of data products? Though I know every PM has to use do analytics and something like that, but some PMs in my company I'd see they are into analytics and they are handling working with analytics teams. So they're most of their work revolves around Hadoop, Hive, data, big data. Yeah. So that in terms of that, I'm asking.
Uh, so again, like this is something that every company calls everything like differently. Okay, it's very subjective. If it's a product manager handling data products, I would still call them product managers.
Okay.
I don't think that there is much of a difference unless like I mean, they are people who are looking at data, identifying problems, and creating solutions for them. Solutions need not be a screen where there are hundreds of buttons or charts. There can be other solutions as well. So as long as you are within that space, you are still a product manager. So I would say identify what is your strength, identify what is your interest area, and just go towards that. Don't worry about boxing yourself into this data PM. So don't worry about that.
Okay, that helps. Thanks a lot, Keerthana.
No
Thank you.
problem.
Thank you.
Okay, so we have a question in the chats. So Harish is asking, do we need to learn data science part for product management role, since product managers and data scientists use data to make decisions?
Okay. Um, no. Uh, Data science is very different from data analytics. Okay. So data science is mostly called for prediction algorithms and kind of regression and classification, whereas data analytics is just diving into data and even basic charts and trying to understand what exactly is the data telling you. Is there a problem? Is there which exact part is the problem? So data analytics, yes. Data science, no. Unless you want to go into an AI ML kind of a product manager role, it is really not necessary to know data science. If you know, good for you, eh, but definitely no, you don't need to learn.
So there's another question which was asked by Abhishek. So Abhishek is asking how to create a portfolio for product management.
Okay, so one is I'm assuming that you are not yet a product manager, so I will tell you from that perspective. Our first thing is you don't. I would build something, you know, and the easiest way to build something is to use like a no code tool or something like that. But before I go and build that, I would do a bunch of things like understanding, like first of all, right, thinking about the problem that you are solving, doing a lot of user research, doing a lot of market research, writing down everything for at every step. Why are you solving, what is the problem you're solving, why are you solving it, who told you that there is a problem here, is there any other competitor in the market who's doing this? They should document all of these things, you know, and it should be in a very like uh, thought oriented way, that I did this is what I realized, and this is why I chose to kind of solve this problem. This is how I'm going to solve this problem. I'm going to build a solution, however it may be, whatever it may be, and you build that solution. You use whatever tools that are available. You don't even need to build like a full-fledged app or anything. You just can have screens and things like that. Have those, and for each of the things that you put on those screens or whatever that you design, have a reason why it is there, why is it here, why is it here, what will it do, how will it drive something, you know. You do this for one problem, just one problem, document everything, either create like a blog or a web page and put all of your thought process, and this can get you into this can make your job very easy to transition into being a product manager. You will learn it on the fly.
Thank you, Keerthana. So there's another question by Ekta. So Ekta is asking, what all things to consider to solve 1 to 10, 10 to 100 scaling of product?
Hi Ekta, I can see you on the call. Do you want to ask your question?
Yeah, hi Keerthana. So actually, currently I'm working with a banking in the banking sector.
Okay.
And they have already. So I recently joined there, and they have already created this first 0 to 1 product, I would say. Then now they want me to like improvise on it, or we are aggressively scaling, and that is the problem I'm trying to solve. So
Okay.
just needed your word of advice on the same.
Okay. So the 0 to 1 product, has it achieved product market fit? Like, is it fine? Is it something that you're already selling, or are you facing a problem selling it? What is it stage?
So it's a B2C product. It's like a digital banking product only. So like we want people to be able to open accounts online.
Okay. And is it already live, and are there users who are using it? And
Yes.
Okay. Do you have any kind of analytics tracking tracking your app right now?
Yes, the data is getting captured.
Okay. Do you know which part of the product or the funnel where people are facing problem?
Yeah.
Okay. Can you prioritize that in terms of, if I solve this, then this would be the impact?
Okay.
Yeah. And can you prioritize based on your company or your team's priorities? Like, what do they want to tackle first? Like, let's say it's the number of signups, for example, you know.
Yeah.
So go through the entire funnel, or where a user logs in till the user signs up. Try and identify different points where there are issues. Try and prioritize, if I solve this issue, how much impact will I get, and go that way. Once you have this, I mean, it's a pretty straightforward thing, right? Like you need the user to sign up, right? That's what it is. So that is what I would do. And once you solve that, you get confidence and you know what to do next immediately, right? So you need to prioritize, understand where is the issue, and go from there. I would keep an eye on the metrics. And also, I'm sure your team must have their own exit criterias, right? Do they have any kind of exit criterias that this is a metric I want to hit, this is a metric I want to hit? Do they have?
Yes, they have. Yeah.
So just see where is the highest gap, and what if you solve that, what is the impact, and solve that first, I would say.
Okay. And what when prioritizing, then many a times we end up considering what are the RBI guidelines, and those need to be incorporated. So that's the thing.
So that is something that is very what is it, local to your problem, isn't it? You have to comply. There is no other way, right? So
Yeah.
I mean, you have to learn ways to work around that and see how you're competent. Is there a competitor who's doing it very well and also following all these rules? Why don't you
Yes.
look at them, right? Like, why don't you see what is better in their experience versus yours? You may not have the experience, but you can see the product out there, right? And when you're using that product, see what is the best thing, and see first of all, identify problems within your domain, and then do this, and then try to solve from there, that is what I would say.
Okay. Thanks, Keerthana. Thanks, that helps. And one more thing, actually, I had given other interviews also, and I found that many a times interviewers ask some specific use case and ask us to provide an idea around it. So since I am unmarried, I do not have children. So I would say like there was a use case where children were involved, and I was not very sure how children are like using digital products, or how what problems they might be facing. So then, how to go about it?
See, one of the things is, obviously you cannot know everything, right? Like, obviously there will be places where you don't know about some scenario. The
Yeah.
first thing that you should do is observe everything. Like, children are not less in the world, like, and children around you using these apps may not be less. What if they ask you questions like, you are a pilot in an aircraft, they ask such questions? So all you need to do is ask them back, like, like, this is what I know, is there something that you think I don't know? That is something you can ask. Some people may say, okay, no, I cannot tell you, you assume whatever you want, in which case you assume whatever you want. And once you make that assumption, make sure like the entire solution follows through from that assumption. And when you assume, you ask them, this is what I'm assuming, are you okay with this? And then you move ahead. So I would say, like, break down and kind of attack the problem in that way.
Okay. Thanks a lot.
Thank you, Ekta. So there's another question by John. So
Okay.
John is present here. John, do you want to ask your question?
Hey,
Okay.
John, if you're talking, you're on mute. Okay.
Yeah, so John has asked, how difficult is it to get a job in product management with the unrelated qualifications?
To be honest, John, it is it is difficult. It is not that simple. There are a lot of people who want to get into product management. So yeah, I would not say, okay, it is very simple. It is definitely difficult. One of the ways people try to get into product management is through doing an MBA, right? And after MBA, a lot of people directly get into product management. For those who do not have an MBA, I would say the other way to do it is either start something on your own, or work in startups, or wherever you are within your company, take a transition. These are some of the things that I could say, because market is flooded with PMs. There is also a heavy demand for PMs, so it is a little challenging.
Yeah, he just said, thank you, ma'am. I can't see any other question, but we had to take the last part of the question by Subra Jyoti. So we can
So,
continue.
yeah,
Yeah.
Subrajyoti, if I remember right, the question was people with a non-tech background are being judged by tech background people, right? Is that your question, Subrajyoti?
Yes and no. I mean, on an operations, from an operations point of view, right? When you're talking to your tech team during a sprint planning, estimations and stuff. If you do not have a strong engineering manager, there will be a lot of the times. I'm not saying it happens at every company, but few times there will be some monkey, right? Who knows that it takes five. It's a 5 story point, thing, and he'll say no, it's 15, and no one in the team will say anything else, right? So unless you are a very experienced PM and you have done that kind of a feature before or that kind of a task before, or you are from an engineering or tech background, it's very difficult for you to have any kind of rebuttal.
100%. This happens. Definitely, it does happen. I don't find it much because I have a good engineering background. So I don't find it much, but I've seen others facing it. What I would do in that case is try to observe, in the sense that over a period of time, if somebody is giving 5 or 15, and let's say they're able to complete in 5, for example, may not be like always it will go that way, but I think you'll have your retros and things like that, so you might be having those kind of discussions. So observe like who is doing it, and if someone who's not doing it, take them into your confidence. Like you may not have an engineering manager, but definitely there are a lot of passionate engineers who would never do such things. So you should take them into consideration, and uh, uh, what probably I would do is, like, I would take their validation, so okay, and in fact, like, you can make 2 engineers do each other's story points, that is also something you can do. So you can make them do their, like, A does B's and B does A's, and you compare.
I mean, the scrum poker and all those things obviously happen to make sure that, but still,
Yeah, see, I would say that is a challenge for you. The other way is for you definitely not to build. It takes a time to build acumen, but I would say that build it, like, in the sense that you need not know like the in-depth of everything, but you should definitely know how to design some kind of systems, right? Like if there is a basic system that you are asking them to develop, it would be good for you to come up with a design for that system. It will take some time, it is a challenge, but obviously, like most things which are worth doing, will take its own time. So you should, I would suggest to build a system design acumen, and that will solve many of your problems.
So when you say system design acumen, do you mean from a tech architecture point of view or UI UX?
No, tech architecture.
Okay.
You don't need to know like the tech components, but it would be very helpful to know the logical components of that system, and how one thing talks to another, what is the flow within the system, and things like that. Basic block diagrams of how you will build an efficient system, right? So that would be something I would suggest you to learn. There is a course called Grokking the System Interview, system design interview. You can check it out. It would probably help you.
Okay. And you said, there are 3-4 keywords that every product manager should have in their resumes. Can you elaborate a little bit on them? What are those keywords?
I didn't say like 3-4 keywords. What I said was, I see a lot of, I mean, it's very subjective, right? So do you have the right things in your resume, like your right designation? Maybe you are currently like, my example, right? Customer success to product manager. So I had to have product manager as my designation, and otherwise people will not be able to find me. With there is a caption or something in LinkedIn which needs to have like a statement. I don't exactly remember the field, so make sure you're filling that with B2C product manager who is passionate about solving problems and things like that. So LinkedIn will index on that, and your what do you say, your profile will come on top. So look for those and change your resume accordingly. A simple thing I would tell is go to some PM's profile which is good and try and copy what they're doing.
Okay, I'll definitely look at your profile.
Cool. Anything else? Does anyone have anything?
I have a question. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I am a senior PM at a startup. I have worked for a couple of startups in the last 5-6 years. But those are all seed funded startups without being Series A or Series B. And I'm trying to find it difficult, to break into senior PM roles in good companies as well as well-funded companies, because my companies are not well known.
Sure. 100% agree with your problem. I have faced it too. It is really challenging. So Prakash, it is going to take a while before you can do that. So what I would say is start giving some interviews if you have. I know even getting interviews is a problem at this stage. So if you can, try and start giving those interviews. Or if you are really having a problem even like trying to get those interviews, I would say first of all, build up your LinkedIn and build up your resume well. Also, I would say look into these books called Decode and Conquer and
Cracking the PM interview.
Cracking the PM interview, right? Also look into Google's product management interview process. There are like 5 things: estimation, strategy, metrics, I don't know, like product design and system design, right? Yeah, these are the 5 things. Rate yourself on each of them, like where do you struggle the most. Build those skills, build those skills, and then go and, like, I would say, give interviews. There's also like groups where you can give mock interviews. Do that. That will help you a lot. And yeah, you will get there. It is going to take time. Give it 1 year, 1.5 years. It will take time. If you really want to get into a tier 1, very good kind of a company, it is going to take time. So don't be hard on yourself. It will take some time. And just because you are in a seed funded startup PM doesn't mean you're not a PM. You will be I have seen in my experience, people from seed startups or smaller startups are better PMs. So